My best friend and I share everything, until I confessed my feelings and he laughed at me. Now I'm torn between supporting him as he pursues his ex and figuring out how to be normal instead of clinging to the maybe that haunts me every day. I pose this question in a general sense, but I am eager to learn how to be more socially acceptable so I can maintain my friendships and make new ones. I am striving to become a better person who is easier and more pleasant to be around. I am very sensitive, deeply insecure, paranoid, and tend to withdraw when things go awry. I possess a talent for sabotaging relationships, cutting people off, and isolating myself for months to years. Additionally, I struggle with limerence and forming inappropriate attachments to individuals. I have attended therapy, which has helped to some extent, and I have conducted personal research and read books on attachment theory and similar topics. I have learned to be comfortable with investing in myself and can venture into the world alone, enjoying self-dates without feeling guilty. I have made an effort to reach out to my family and build stronger, more amicable relationships with my parents and siblings. I maintain weekly or bi-weekly contact with my high school friends. There is one daily friend who has motivated my research. I will refer to him as PB because, in terms of personality, he shares many traits with Princess Bubblegum. When we first became friends, we met through a popular online game and I joined his Discord server. He identified as gay and I regarded him solely as a friend. In the following months, as we spent nearly 8 hours a day in voice calls, he shared his phone number with me and we would talk on the phone if we were not on Discord together. We maintained constant contact, not necessarily conversing the entire time, but often just being present with one another while engaging in our own activities, whether doing chores, eating, driving, or attending work or school. After about 6 months, we became as close as I had experienced in previous romantic relationships. At some point during this time, he shifted from expressing a desire for a boyfriend to expressing interest in having a girlfriend. He frequently mentioned how he was tired of men and the treatment he received from them, and he asserted that women were easier to get along with. He confided in me that he had struggled with his sexuality in his youth, found it difficult to accept being gay, and now felt like he was experiencing that transition again. He indicated that he was somewhat interested in women, eventually asserting that he was bisexual. Gradually, I transitioned from never considering a romantic relationship with him to wondering if we might have a future together. He would call me and remain on the phone with me throughout my workday, to the point where I had to recharge my phone to prevent it from dying. He would study various materials with me on the phone, whether for general knowledge or exams. At one point, he mentioned that he had difficulty focusing, and sometimes we would hang up so he could concentrate, while other times he would make the sacrifice to remain on the line with me. He would invite me to attend his classes via phone, sharing slides and study materials while quizzing me on the content. He encouraged me to pursue the same field as him so that we could work together. I thought he was serious at the time, but I have since doubted whether he was joking. I tried to engage with his interests because it was significant to him and a way for me to show that I cared. At some point during this period, he created a private Discord server for us, myself, and a mutual male friend, whom I will refer to as Gromit. We would share memes and discuss various topics in that private space. Meanwhile, PB and I continued our routine of daily phone calls and sleeping on the phone together. He would express his love for me and insist that I reciprocate. He sent nude pictures of himself to me, and on occasion, we would share sexually explicit moments while on the phone. I interpreted those interactions as meaningful, and it became contentious because he casually sent nudes to many others, asserting that it was common and normal within his circle of the gay community. I felt agitated by this, questioning whether I was entitled to him, which left me conflicted because I understood we were not dating, yet I still experienced jealousy and possessiveness. I made a concerted effort to rein in these feelings, recognizing it was unfair to claim ownership when we were not in a defined relationship. It was also at this point that I realized I wished to be with him but felt unworthy of him. Additionally, it was a poor time to pursue a relationship due to his academic commitments. Around the 7th month mark, we encountered an issue within our friend group where some individuals created a We Hate PB group, discussing their disdain for him, mocking him, and coordinating trolls against him. Gromit was friends with members of that group and joined it because he felt many individuals had been unjustly banned from our Discord server. PB confided in me about the need to cut Gromit off and restrict his access to our Discord due to his association with that group. I felt caught between my two best friends, and the only other person I could discuss the situation with was Gromit. I breached PB's trust by revealing the situation to Gromit and essentially warned him that if he maintained his connection to that group, he would likely lose access to the main Discord and PB would sever ties with him. Gromit acknowledged it and eventually departed from that group voluntarily. In the meantime, I continued to maintain friendships with them both, and Gromit had access to my gaming account to assist me with something related to the game. I permitted him access to my account solely to help me and meant no harm by it. However, by doing so, I inadvertently provided him access to the main friend group and PB. That We Hate PB group had created fake accounts that infiltrated our Discord and spied on PB through that, but it does not change the fact that I gave access to my account to Gromit and once again betrayed PB's trust. Tensions between PB and me escalated, and I could sense that it was my turn to face consequences. PB began to withdraw, and historically, when things reached that point, it often resulted in someone being expelled from the group. I realized I was on the verge of being cut off and banned as well. I recognized that he had justification for his feelings. I had betrayed PB's trust, and it is difficult to recover from that, regardless of my intentions. I penned him an extensive apology letter expressing my awareness of the impending fallout. I kept trying to reach out to him, only to be met with silence. It felt too painful to continue engaging in the friendship, so I concluded that it would be best for me to remove myself rather than prolong the inevitable anguish. Ultimately, I blocked him on Discord. I was heartbroken and sick for months. I cried and struggled to sleep, feeling as if I was missing out on something profoundly important and I only had myself to blame. I received an invitation to the We Hate PB group but declined it. I withdrew and ceased communicating with virtually anyone. Our fallout persisted for approximately 6 months before PB reached out to me through the game. He invited me back into his group and we made amends, gradually rebuilding our relationship. We have been friends for over 2 years now and are as close as we were before. During the past year, we have supported each other through challenging times, relying on one another for emotional support. He encouraged me to pursue education, and I occasionally sent him money to assist him when he needed help with food or paying bills. He has earned 3 degrees, highly values education, and has attempted to guide me through the process of enrolling in college. I have yet to be successful in entering because I fear quitting my job and taking out loans to attend school. I cannot afford tuition on my own, and although I filled out multiple essays for grants, I did not qualify for any, so I gave up. I have a career in what would be considered a skilled trade, requiring me to take tests and pass regulations to qualify, but I do not think it is regarded as a traditional trade job. I earn a sufficient income to cover my expenses independently. I aspire to engage in a career that allows me to adequately support myself and those I care about. That was part of my motivation for pursuing a degree. The other part was to feel more deserving of being with someone like my friend. At some point, the shared affection between us resurfaced, and he began making comments about us getting married or living together. When he made those statements, I started to believe him and thought he was hinting at being interested in me. Once again, we were in constant communication for most hours of the day, and I have never experienced this level of closeness with anyone other than my romantic partners. I confided in some other friends and online sources and determined that I should be brave and express my romantic interest in him, despite my fears of jeopardizing our friendship. During this period, I began to experience possessiveness once again. Approximately a year ago, he mentioned that he felt the boundaries of our relationship were blurred, and he was engaging in boyfriend-like behavior, which he viewed as problematic since we were not officially dating. He also remarked that he somewhat dreaded the prospect of it. His words left me perplexed, and others urged me to candidly reveal my romantic interest in him. Eventually, I expressed my feelings, and he told me he was not interested. He felt sexually attracted to women but could not envision marrying one. I was devastated, believing I had made an unwanted advance and that I had behaved inappropriately and might have made him uncomfortable with my revelation. I ended up avoiding communication with him for a week, feeling horrified by my actions and needing time to create some distance. Eventually, I expressed that I understood his position and wanted to remain friends, assuring him that I would not invest my romantic interest in someone who did not reciprocate. I thought I was managing the situation well, even though I struggled with my emotions regarding it. I reminded myself that we would never be together and that he only sought a husband. I suggested we avoid any intimate behavior and requested that he refrain from joking about marriage or cohabitation as it left room for confusion. I also struggled with my desire to help him financially. I felt it was foolish to continue assisting him with bills or food, yet if I ceased doing so, I worried it might appear as if I was trying to buy his affection. Over time, I ended up sending him around $2,000, and he eventually reimbursed me when he had the funds. We have spent significant time together over the past year, engaging in lengthy phone calls and watching shows or playing games on Discord. I struggled for several months following my rejection as he would recount his sexual experiences and often call me immediately afterward to discuss them. He even called me once to express his desire to cuddle with me afterward. One day, PB shared that a guy he had a crush on mentioned another individual, which negatively impacted PB. I confided that I frequently experienced similar feelings when he spoke about his romantic encounters. Following that conversation, he ceased discussing his romantic or sexual experiences with others. So much time has passed and we are both still single. A few days ago, he confided that he wished he could have a wife because women are raised differently than men to care for others. I kept attempting to convince myself that he did not mean me and that he did not want to be with me. However, we continue to be on the phone all the time and a small voice in my head keeps insisting, maybe. Last night, he mentioned talking to his ex-boyfriend for 4 hours, which shocked me since it was the first time PB had brought him up in a long while. He stated that his ex is probably his soulmate and that he intends to propose. Hearing this caused me pain and I was surprised by my feelings. The maybe reemerged in my mind, leading me to believe I had misinterpreted the situation again. Unfortunately, I struggled to mask my astonishment and apprehension, and he noticed. I attempted to ask him questions and offer support, but I may have come across as insincere to him. He informed me that he did not want to discuss it with me because, in the past, I had reacted strangely or negatively when he mentioned his previous relationships. I grew upset because he was correct, but I do not believe it is reasonable to avoid discussing such matters simply to spare a friend's feelings. He remarked that he could choose to withhold discussions about his relationship since he was not obligated to share. I expressed that if he were to date someone or get married, it would not make sense never to mention them, and I would prefer for him not to exclude that from our discussions. He became wary of my motives in encouraging him to talk about his relationship and pushed back against my request. I inquired whether he thought we would still be friends after he entered a relationship or if we should end our friendship now. He shifted the responsibility back to me, stating that it was my decision. I conveyed that I needed him to eliminate that maybe from my mind. I urged him to be direct, avoid playful flirting, and not leave space for my confusion. He insisted that it did not make sense for me to be confused if I understood he would never be with me. I countered that our friendship is not normal, we are practically in a relationship, and I believe he is in denial about that. He laughed at my assertion, either incredulous at my perspective or at the situation itself. I felt somewhat disheartened and began to question whether it was inappropriate to stay on the phone until I fell asleep, so I wished him good night and hung up. I do not want to be a bad friend. I do not want to appear creepy or delusional, waiting for my friend to fall in love with me. I love him and he is incredibly important to me. I think I can accept his being with someone else as long as they are happy together. I do not want to be enemies with his partner, nor do I wish to behave rudely or excluding toward them. I seek guidance on how to be a better and more appropriate friend. I have researched this and previously confided in friends about my situation, but I hope that insight from an external perspective can provide additional assistance. Summary: I believe I have an inappropriate relationship with my best friend, but I wish to maintain our friendship. I would appreciate advice on how to be a normal friend to him. Thank you very much for your time. Story 2. My wife says I'm not special and treats our achievements like they're unremarkable. After years of emotional neglect, I wonder if I'm just a competitor to her feel like I'm fighting for basic appreciation. Can I really change this toxic dynamic? I am extremely frustrated with this situation, especially since it feels like the final straw regarding how my wife, age 35, has treated me throughout our entire relationship, 8 years. I need assistance in figuring out what to do. Summary: my wife has downplayed my and our achievements, compared me to her friends, stating that I am not special. I consistently feel that I must do more to earn her appreciation, and she appears incapable of understanding me. I feel lost. First, here is what occurred today. I had a productive day at work where I delivered a successful presentation and had the chance to speak with several junior colleagues seeking career advice. This moment, along with the appreciation my colleagues expressed, prompted me to reflect on some of my life achievements, both personal and professional, filling me with gratitude for the opportunities I have been fortunate enough to encounter, the people in my life, and of course, the effort I have invested to bring it all together. I shared these reflections with my wife in the evening, recounting my experience and explaining that it is moments like these that make me think about our successes, including my own, hers, and our joint accomplishments. I expressed my gratitude for having achieved so much by age 30, including many milestones reached alongside her, such as earning my university degree, obtaining my leadership position at work, owning our house, and starting a family, among other things. I also highlighted some significant achievements she has accomplished. Her initial reaction was to claim, "I think in some sense you fell into this path. It was not your plan or choice from the beginning," which I strongly disagreed with, as it is indeed my choice to pursue the paths that have led us to where we are today. After I expressed my thoughts, she stated, "I think insert friends' names all achieved these things." When I pressed her for specifics, as I felt she was undermining my point, which was to celebrate our successes rather than compare against others, she began to deflect the issue. For instance, when I noted specific accomplishments we had achieved, she would respond, "Oh, I didn't consider that," or to me, "That is similar to XYZ," or "Not many people choose to do that." We then looked up some statistics, after which she acknowledged that some of our achievements were indeed noteworthy. At this moment, I felt that the discussion had completely lost direction, as I was not trying to compare ourselves to others, and I believed the broader point about appreciating our successes had been overlooked. I communicated to her that to me she is always special and the best, and that whenever she achieves something, I celebrate it, support her, and encourage her to reach even greater heights. I always affirm that she can accomplish remarkable things and deserves success. Conversely, she tends to minimize my successes, suggesting that they are either not significant or that others can accomplish the same feats. She refuted my claims, stating that she cannot provide what I seek and that she cannot, in her words, adore you. I clarified that I did not desire adoration, but rather wanted someone in my corner, just as I would always be for her. I used the analogy of being a dedicated supporter of a sports team, not blindly but enthusiastically celebrating every success. I told her that this is the way I have always been for her, my friends, and my family, constantly rooting for them. I emphasized that if she does not see the person she married as the best, and support them unconditionally, she is condemning her partner, i.e. me, to a life of having to continually prove their worthiness of her love, which is how I consistently feel. Her reply was, "It's not in my nature to say you are the best, but I do believe you can achieve whatever you want," which I felt did not adequately address my concerns. I reiterated that she is the only individual who never appreciates the things I do, the successes I want to share, and the projects I wish to pursue. Even my parents and friends express immense appreciation for minor accomplishments. Her response was, "I regard you as a friend, a partner, but also a competitor, and I believe that if you can do it, I can as well." She then asked what I wanted from her. At this point, I became extremely upset and declared that the way she treats me constitutes emotional abuse, a term I realize may sound harsh, as all I desire is support, appreciation, and validation, and it is entirely inappropriate for her to make comparisons between me and other individuals. I also stated that I have never pointed to someone and suggested that what she does or her achievements are comparable to others and not special, as such behavior is genuinely insulting. She ultimately told me, "I am sorry that hurts," not even apologizing for her actions, and added, "I think I feel jealous of you and insecure, which is why I downplayed your achievement." While I understand her feelings, I have consistently celebrated her accomplishments and even highlighted several of her significant achievements in our discussion today. I expressed my belief that she is unable to grasp my perspective and suggested that we should leave the conversation for the day. I am at my wit's end because this behavior has persisted for years, and I genuinely feel like every moment consists of my attempts to earn even a small amount of her appreciation or acknowledgement. I sincerely put forth my best effort, and I do not expect grandiose praise. Just that I am a good partner, that I make her happy, that she values me, and that XYZ is acknowledged as a great achievement. That is all. I am simply exhausted from feeling as though I constantly need to earn her appreciation. Given that this has been ongoing for years, I genuinely feel that I have reached my limit and am tired of not having someone with whom to share exciting moments without it turning into a downer. I anticipate that this will arise every few weeks or months. I perceive her behavior as toxic, and I am unsure if I should put an end to this relationship and move forward. I am uncertain about what I could say to her to help her understand my feelings.